He was never the fastest, the strongest, or the flashiest, but somehow this one player controlled the tempo of games, frustrated opponents, and turned referees into allies. To some, he was a genius. To others, he was the NRL's most annoying manipulator. So how did a quiet kid from Brisbane become both the greatest leader in modern rugby league and its most controversial? This is the story of how one man bent the rules and ruled the NRL. Cam Smith was born in Brisbane, Queensland. He didn't arrive in the NRL with the same hype as other stars. As a teenager, he was overlooked for his size and athleticism. Scouts thought he was too slow, too small, too ordinary. But at the Logan Brothers Club, he developed something you can't measure at a combine: game IQ. He studied every detail of the game: ruck speed, referee positioning, opposition fatigue. By the time he cracked the Melbourne Storm system in 2002, it was clear. This wasn't going to be a player who beat you with speed. He was going to beat you with control. Debuting for Melbourne in 2002, he became a first-choice hooker by 2003. Surrounded by a system that prized discipline and tactics, he fit perfectly. Where others played the game, he managed it. Quick play the balls when the defence lagged. Milking penalties with just the right body language. Talking to referees after almost every set. Fans outside Melbourne started calling him the referee whisperer. Every NRL fan remembers it. A penalty against his side, he'd be in the referee's ear before the touch judge even set the mark. A borderline wrestle in the ruck, he'd frame it as competing in the tackle. The genius wasn't that he argued, it's how he argued. Calm tone, respectful words, frames like he was clarifying, not complaining. By the end of the 80 minutes, refs had been managing the game through his lens without even realising it. Opposition fans hated it. They booed him relentlessly, but the numbers proved it worked. Melbourne consistently finished with fewer penalties than their rivals. If there was one tactic that cemented his annoying label, it was the Storm's wrestle. From the mid-2000s, Melbourne pioneered wrestling techniques in the ruck, holding down just long enough to reset their defensive line without giving away 6 again. Neutral fans called it killing the game. Coaches called it brilliance. And at the heart of it was their hooker, orchestrating every tackle, barking orders, slowing momentum. For opposing forwards, it was maddening. For Melbourne, it was dynasty building. By the late 2000s, his reputation was set. A manipulator, a schemer, the smartest player on the park. But along with the reputation came results. 5 Dally M Hooker of the Year awards, multiple premierships, more than 40 origins for Queensland, over 50 tests for Australia, and over 400 NRL games, a record unlikely to be broken anytime soon. Love him or hate him, you couldn't argue with the impact. Critics said he bent the rules. Supporters said he mastered them. When the NRL introduced new interpretations, he adjusted first. When referees trialled 6 again, he adapted faster than anyone. While other players reacted emotionally, he manipulated situations. For example, if his team needed a breather, he'd subtly drag an opponent into the ruck. If Melbourne needed a quick roll, he'd argue a defensive offside and win the call. If Origin needed composure, he'd slow the set and reset the rhythm. It wasn't just skill, it was control disguised as normal play. Ask any fan outside Melbourne or Queensland, and the first word is annoying. He was booed at stadiums across the league. Opponents accused him of whinging, stalling, and crossing the line of fair play. But here's the kicker. The more they booed, the calmer he got. It almost seemed like he fed off it. Each chorus of boos only highlighted his influence. How many players can silence a crowd just by jogging to a ruck? The truth is, his annoying traits were the backbone of a dynasty. Alongside Billy Slater and Cooper Cronk, he turned Melbourne into the most consistent team of the modern era. Premiership after premiership, Origin dominance with Queensland, World Cup trophies with Australia. The numbers weren't built on flair, they were built on habits. slowing when needed, speeding when needed, making referees second-guess themselves. That's why coaches adored him. He didn't just play the game, he manipulated the flow of it. So what is he? A genius tactician who redefined the hooker role? Or the NRL's most annoying manipulator? On one side, opponents say he sucked the joy out of matches, exploited rules, and set the standard for frustrating tactics. On the other, teammates and coaches called him the greatest leader, the most consistent professional, and the ultimate rugby league brain. The reality? He was both. That's why he's remembered as the NRL's GOAT, and also one of its most polarising figures. So, what do you think? Was he a master tactician who simply outsmarted everyone? Or the most annoying player the NRL has ever seen? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear where you stand. And if you want more deep dives into the legends, villains and masterminds of rugby league, hit subscribe. And we'll see you here next time at Line Break.